How the fuck do I start one of these again? I do like The Interview. I think it's a very good movie, but I also think that The Interview has a lot of issues. I feel like that's a message that I have constantly. But let me be clear, I do like The Interview. I think it's a great movie. Since this is more of an adult movie, I will be covering it in the scary movie format where I take a look at the characters, the plot, and my likes and dislikes. I actually have a guest with me this time. Joining me today is Majin. I will leave him in the description as well, but he's gonna hop in every now and then, help me stay on track. So let's just go ahead and get started.
I am a homosexual.
Just like with a lot of the adult movies that I've covered so far, the plot seems to be the main issue that I've been finding with a lot of them. The plot is about The plot is about James Franco's characters, Dave Skylark, who's a talk show host, and Seth Rogen, who's his producer, Aaron, getting recruited by the CIA to go kill Kim Jong-un. This is a dumb idea. I'm a little bit baffled of how this actually made it in the script. This is a funny plot, don't get me wrong, but they make the CIA look absolutely ridiculous in this. This plan fails on so many levels. Oh, and let's talk about the initial plan to kill Kim Jong-un in the first place. So the CIA's master plan was they stick this adhesive onto James Franco's hand, and James Franco goes to shake Kim Jong-un's hand, which is going to be undetectable to Kim Jong-un. The only problem is, Dave is a moron. Dave is stupid.
Oh, excuse me. Just making my tinfoil hat. I'm only wearing gloves from now on.
This is such a basic plan, but Dave can't even follow simple instructions. The only reason that this plan actually ends up working is because they're constantly bailed out by random bullshit throughout the movie. The CIA is also incredibly idiotic. They ignore obvious crimes like Aaron having cocaine, putting an obvious incompetent Dave Skylark in situations where he's exposing the US government's involvement because he can't control himself. Didn't have any backup plan in case Dave went rogue. They put way too much faith in Dave in this movie. And we'll get to more about Dave later and how much he pisses me off, but it just kind of feels like things happen in this movie just to happen. I mean, the ending is just so goddamn ridiculous.
This finale is so stressful. Like, is Dave gonna stick to the script? Is Kim gonna kill him? Are Rogan and Sook gonna get killed? Are they gonna cut the broadcast? Like, this is seriously, like, so stressful for a comedy finale.
It doesn't really look like it's gonna end well for them, and they kind of get bailed out by a rogue soldier and then luck. Like, that's the only way I could describe the ending. It's total chaos. Their new plan is to expose Kim on live television. I think this is a better plan than what they had. The only problem is their escape just sounds super convoluted.
I don't know if Eminem is my favorite part or the death of Kim is my favorite part. It is just so funny and so well executed.
They do bring up a good point as to why they can't just go in and kill Kim.
Just killing Kim isn't going to solve anything. It's just going to make somebody else rise to power who could be 10 times more ruthless.
I think it's a very reasonable argument. I think that's all I got to say about the plot. I have a lot more to say, so let's move on to characters.
The one thing I will say is that everybody in this movie just sells their roles completely.
Dave frickin' Skylark. Where do I begin with you? You're arrogant, self-absorbed. He's an asshole who never learns his lesson. He's extremely gullible around Kim. He immediately agrees to the stupid plan to kill Kim just because he's got an ego. Although I will say, like, I'm shitting on his character a lot. He's still probably one of the funniest parts of this movie. He's also very loyal to a degree. So, like, he's not loyal to his producer and his country, but he's loyal to a guy that he met for, like, 2 days. Yeah, but overall, Dave is a very confusing character to me, because Kim is basically the exact same thing that I said about Dave. You can insert it here. The only difference is he's very manipulative compared to Dave. Dave isn't exactly manipulative, he's just dumb. The movie correctly is telling us that we should not be cheering for Kim because he's not trustworthy. It's a good message, I get that, but at the same time, you have James Franco's character who's basically the same as Kim, but I'm supposed to root for him.
The little friendship dynamic between Franco and Kim is honestly beautiful. It seems like they are having just the best friendship blossoming. So around the halfway point, you start to feel a little bit bad for Kim. Like, maybe he is just a little misunderstood and had to grow up with this entire weight of a country on his shoulders until the loyalty speech happens, and then you just realize that he's just a ruthless dictator.
You have Aaron Rappaport, aka Seth Rogen, just being Seth Rogen the whole time. He's the man in the chair character, basically the guy behind the scenes pulling all the strings. He also kind of acts as the voice of reason, but he's also used for a lot of physical comedy.
You like it? You like it?
I never want to see Seth Rogen's dick ever again.
He's a very intelligent person, but I'm pretty sure he also has a drug problem, just like Seth Rogen.
Sook is a fucking badass. That is a Lady Rambo right there.
She's a love interest for Aaron, because of course she is. Seth Rogen always has to bang somebody.
This entire sex scene is just a roller coaster of emotions. Like, you're rooting for Seth because he's gonna get some pussy, and then out of nowhere, like, you're worrying about the test strip, and then Franco's coming. It's just a roller coaster of emotions, and I can't handle it.
Agent Lacey kind of played up like a love interest, but not really. She doesn't really add much either. She's just also not very intimidating as a character because she's constantly undermined.
Tip is, it's the worst part. Trust me on this.
Agent Lacey is having a little too much excitement about the package being secured, don't you think?
I think my favorite character's gotta be James Franco, honestly. Just because of how funny he is. Yeah, I think we're done with characters now, so let's move on to the likes and dislikes, shall we?
Fuckers hate us because they ain't us.
I actually have a pretty stacked list here. So let's begin with likes. Always, we gotta start out positive. The Eminem interview is goated. If you haven't seen it already, you need to check it out because it is honestly amazing. Probably the best part of this whole movie.
The entire first interaction with James Franco and Eminem is fucking hilarious, and no matter how many times I watch it, it will never fail to get a chuckle out of me. Playing gay peekaboo and then leaving a breadcrumb trail of gayness is probably my favorite way of describing coming out of the closet to somebody.
Aaron is a well-written character. His motivations make sense. He's very logical. This great line from James Franco.
They hate us because they ain't us.
That's not what it is.
They got some very good insults in the movie as well.
This movie is just giving me so much to incorporate into my everyday slang. Peanut butter and jealous and that oak tree looking fuck. That's my only insult from now on.
The music is really good as well. A lot of the music fits the scenes that it's meant to be in.
Super fucked up song for a kid to sing, but it does fit with the forced hatred that North Korean kids have to go through, so I kind of get it.
The final interview with Kim, also really good.
And make them go, oh.
Alright, they brought it back with him singing Katy Perry to Kim on live TV.
Now onto my dislikes. The plot is ludicrous. Things just happen. They try to explain things away, but it doesn't work. Just really, really convenient. Comedy is pretty hit and miss here. A lot of gross out humor, surprisingly.
It kind of lost me there with the biting of the fingers. It just seems like it was just for a cheap laugh during all this stressful events, but it really does kind of take away from everything that they've built up so far in the seriousness of the movie.
It's also a lot of Asian jokes, which I should have expected coming into this, but I didn't expect this much of it, you know? The editing of this movie is garbage. It looks like a Steven Seagal movie. That's about it. I think that's it for likes and dislikes.
Your nippers are so pink!
I want to make it clear one more time that this is not a bad movie. And I do enjoy this movie. I'm glad I'm getting movies that I like now. So we're going to start off with King of the Hill here. King of the Hill is where I rank the best movie that I have covered so far. In this case, it's Kingsman, Secret Service. And I pin that up against the movie that I'm currently reviewing. If you haven't seen the Kingsman review, go check it out. Unfortunately, this movie is not better than Kingsman. It's a good attempt. I'll give it that. The shots were nice. Scenery looked good. It's pretty funny. Although the plot is ridiculous, Kingsman's isn't any better. So Kingsman will stay King of the Hill. And as for my rating of this movie, I think a 7. It makes light of a really depressing situation in the real world. If you haven't seen the movie, I do recommend you check it out because you need a good laugh. What about you, Majin? What are you thinking over there?
You wouldn't expect a movie with like James Franco and Seth Rogen to have this much dynamic to it, I guess you would say. But honestly, very funny. They lost you in some parts, but all around, I would have to give this movie probably like a 7.5 out of 10. If you can separate what James Franco has done compared to his acting abilities, I think you will enjoy this movie tenfold. If anybody asked me on the street if they should watch it, I would probably recommend it around like a 7.5 to an 8. I think everybody should watch this movie. It's very, very funny. Other than the finger biting and like the cheap little toilet humor that we had here and there, I thought it was wonderful. Special shout out to ShepBandicoot for allowing me to collaborate on this video with him. Very, very awesome, great movie, and I can't wait to see what else comes. So, peace. Peace.
I think that's going to be it, guys. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you aren't subscribed already, we got a shit ton of content out here. Go check it out. This movie review was suggested by my good friend Nia. Thank you, Nia, for giving me a good movie. We have a Twitch. Go follow that. Join our Discord. I have a link in the description if you are interested. The next movie review is going to be picked from that Discord. Instagram. Go to @ShepBandicoot Clips. I do some voting over there as well. And last but not least, go check out Majin's channel. I appreciate him for being a good sport out here. And I hope to do more collabs with him in the future. Alright, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I need to get some sleep. Bye!